Anthony Grant's home is the University of Dayton. They went 29-2. They would have been a number one seed, and who knows what could have been. Coach, first of all, congratulations. How do you feel today?
Dan, thanks for having me on. I'm doing well, man. I appreciate your kind words, and obviously we're all going through, unprecedented time with everything going on in our country. But for the most part, my family and I are doing well.
Can you get over this as far as the season and not being able to play in the tournament? Can you move on from it?
Yeah, Dan. I think the thing for me, obviously, you're disappointed for the players, for your staff, for obviously Flyer Nation. But the big picture of people's health and safety, and, we can see what's going on across the country right now. When you take that into account, I'm grateful for what we were able to accomplish, and I'm also grateful that the decision makers saw fit that the health and safety of the general public was more important than proceeding with the tournament, and I respect that. And so we choose to be grateful for what we did get a chance to do over the course of 31 games.
If the tournament was played, how do you think you guys would? Who was your biggest competition?
I'm not one that I look ahead. So obviously the only team that we played, that was probably a lock. Well, two teams, Colorado and Kansas. We felt like we fared well, and we felt like we had a chance. I didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of other people in our conference. Obviously Richmond, Rhode Island. There were several teams I thought that were worthy to get in the tournament, but it's hard for me to compare other teams across the country because I kind of lock into us, and I don't really pay attention to what's going on outside of scores.
How was that conversation you had with your kids when you told them that there was no tournament?
It was difficult. We were in Brooklyn for our tournament, for the A-10 tournament, and we were scheduled to play the winner of VCU and UMass, and I was headed to watch that game when the news came out that our tournament was canceled. So I had to quickly get the team together back in our hotel and break the news to them. And it was difficult, especially when you had to look in the eyes of Trey Landers and Ryan Mikesell, our two seniors, knowing that this was their last opportunity to compete for an A-10 tournament championship and what they had meant. And we also realized that the dominoes could fall and impact the NCAA tournament. So we were hopeful that maybe that there would be a postponement rather than a cancellation. And then once we got on the plane to head back to Dayton later that afternoon, the word came out that the NCAA tournament had been canceled. So it was kind of a surreal moment. It was very quiet plane ride back and trying to gather my thoughts. And I met with the team after, and a lot of emotion, because they realized that was it. That they wouldn't get a chance to play with each other anymore. And, that's difficult when it's not in your control. You can probably deal with, a loss had you had a chance to go out there and compete. And on a given night, a team had been just better than you on that given night. But to not get a chance to compete and have it end that way, that's really difficult. But we got a group of guys that, they really supported each other all year and continue to support each other. I think as we kind of go through what the rest of the country is dealing with, and when we're all dealing with, with the COVID-19 that's still currently going on, I think you realize in the big picture of things, what happened had to be done.
He's Anthony Grant. He's the head coach of the Dayton Flyers. So you were on the Flyers team that went to the Elite Eight?
Yeah, 85, Roosevelt Chapman, Cedric Toney, Damon Goodwin, Ed Young, that crew. Yeah, I was a freshman on that crew in 85.
Roosevelt Chapman. I try to explain to people about Roosevelt Chapman, who was, I guess, 6'4", but I saw him go against Randy Brewer, who was 7'3", and he either and Roosevelt Chapman was one of those guys that he couldn't shoot, but he could score against anybody. It feels like that. Every 10 years or so, Dayton has one of those teams that people go, boy, Dayton, they made it to the Elite Eight or this, Sweet 16 or whatever it is. And I remember that was a pretty magical run that you guys had. And Roosevelt Chapman was a pretty impressive guy.
Yeah, he was the darling of the NCAA tournament that year. We had some incredible wins, LSU, Washington, Oklahoma with Wayman Tisdale. and then obviously lost to Georgetown in the Elite Eight game, and they went on and won the national championship that year. But Roosevelt, what he did over the course of the run of the NCAA tournament, I think, was as good as anybody's run that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was pretty special. And you also were an assistant coach with the Thunder with Billy Donovan, and so you got Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, who were like. Do you remember was there drama though? How much drama was there when KD decided that he was going to leave?
There was really no drama, on inside the building.
Really?
Obviously we made it to the Western Conference Finals, and Golden State ended up beating us in a seventh game. And at the end of the year, there was really, a wait and see approach to what Kevin's decision was going to be, and I think everybody in the building respected the fact that he'd earned that right to make a decision about what he felt was best for his future. So once he made that decision, we just kind of put our trust in the front office to move forward, and I think they did a great job with that. And obviously the following year, Russell Westbrook became the MVP of the league and, made history himself. And so, my 2 years there were a great experience, and got a chance to be around some extremely talented and just really great people, from players to coaches and the management team. It was a great experience.
Who was easier to coach, Durant or Westbrook?
Well, they're both great players, So I think you talk about their talents and their ability to make everybody around them better. I enjoyed being around both of them.
Handicap Obi Toppin, do you think is there a better player in college basketball than Obi?
Yeah, I don't. Again, I haven't seen everybody. There's a lot of really great players out there, but I think no one can take away what Obi did from the start to the finish. For our team, we felt like we had a chance to be special when the season started. But I think when you look at we were picked to finish third in our conference, and nobody had us one of those teams that were being talked about as one of the top 30, 40 teams in the country. And obviously what Obi did, but what the rest of our guys did over the course of the season, just in terms of their buy-in, their willingness to support each other, sacrifice for each other. And, Obi really separated himself from the beginning of the season all the way through. And I thought his consistency, his ability to stay focused when a lot of outside voices started realizing how good he was able to remain humble and to keep his team in the forefront of what we were trying to do, and I think it worked out great for everybody.
Yeah, pretty special season for him. And do you think, last question here, really it's not a question. Really, I think it's obvious, but the chances of getting my jersey in the rafters at the UD Arena?
Yeah, we had a meeting yesterday. As a matter of fact, Neil Sullivan and I, we talked about that, and I think the consensus is probably not going to happen, Dan.
Okay. You can name the court after me. There's a lot of other things there, Coach.
There's a parking spot with that's got an available space.
That'd be nice.
Parking spot. Would you be okay with that?
How about I sponsor the 3-point line?
So how would that work? Would your name be on the 3-point line?
Oh yeah. Because I didn't go inside that. Now, if you want to, how about this? How about the Dan Patrick bench area? Because I never left the bench. So could you do that?
That we can talk about.
How about a chair? Coach, could you just
talk about that?
Somebody sits in the Dan Patrick chair on the bench.
So is that the guy that turns it over 3 times in a row?
No, he doesn't even get in. He doesn't even get in. He's great in warm-ups. He's great in warm-ups. Unbelievable. I used to keep track of my points in warm-ups. That's sad, Coach.
Yeah, you got some great ideas.
All right. We'll work on that.
We'll talk it around.
Thank you, Coach.
But you know that you are one of the greatest flyers of all time.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. And congratulations on a great year.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Anthony Graham, Dayton Flyers head coach.